but just the state in which the world is in. And it just feels like things that usually weren't a big deal become a big deal. And I'm just as guilty. I was driving to work just yesterday and got stuck behind some box truck going 45 and a 55. And my knee jerk reaction was to, like, just, it hijacked everything. Hello, and welcome to Enter the Nebula, episode 39. My name's Mike Ergo, and this week we are not sweating the small stuff. This is something that my uncle imparted on me since I was a very small child. It didn't matter what we were doing, and at times I started to wonder if anything fazed him, but it stuck with me and still does. And I was doing some reflection this week on how this can be translated into the workplace because it seems at least it's my perception that everyone's stressed out, and not necessarily because of what's going on inside the workplace, but just the state in which the world is in. And it just feels like things that usually weren't a big deal become a big deal. And I'm just as guilty. I was driving to work just yesterday and got stuck behind some box truck going 45 and a 55. And my knee jerk reaction was to, like, just, it hijacked everything. I was listening to a podcast. I was enjoying my drive. I don't have to drive on highways to get to the work. So I was on a nice farm road and I thought, why am I letting this get the best of me? Yes, is it frustrating? Sure, I guess, but I'm going not going to be late. I'm maybe going to be 3 or 4 minutes past what I was projected to be at, but I would always get to work early, so it wasn't like I was going to be late. And in the odd case that I was going to be late, I have WebEx on my phone and I can dial into a call. So I'm acting like I'm back at 16 years old and I'm late for my shift on at Giant Foods to stock shampoo. What are we doing? Why is that happening? Why are we sweating the small stuff? And I just think that there's so much going on in people's lives and in the world that we start to project those stressors onto things that just don't matter. And as leaders, both inside and outside the workplace, it's not a good look because it opens the door for others to sweat the small stuff and to make mountains out of molehills or pick another cliche. And it can derail whatever you're working on. It can stop motivation. It can cause a cancer inside a team. So as leaders, we have to check ourselves. And it starts with accepting that there are some things that are just outside of our control, whether that's in the world, whether it's in your life, whether it's in the workplace. There are just things that are outside of our control. And that can be hard to accept. In fact, for me, it's the hardest thing to accept. I'm a solver and I fancy myself a pretty good one. And when there are things that are outside my control, it can be very frustrating. And I definitely can start to take them out on smaller things. So recognizing what's outside of your control or our control and keeping that in mind, I think, is the first step. The second step is being self aware and understanding when there are things in our lives that make us have bad days. And that's okay. It's okay to have a bad day. But it's important to communicate that to your team. It's important to communicate that to your family. Hey, I'm having a bad day. And one, it's going to make them understand where you are and potentially give you a little bit more grace, hopefully give you a little bit more grace, but also make sure that they don't start to internalize that maybe they're doing something wrong. So being self-aware is key. Accepting that there are some things that are outside of your control. And then lastly, really thinking of your energy as an item of value. Your energy has value. And if you're spending energy on things that are outside your control or things that really just don't even matter, like a box truck going under the speed limit for a few miles on a commute to work, what are we doing? Take some time to think about your energy and the value it has, and what are you spending it on? Are you spending it on things that are in your control? Are you spending it on things that have a higher rate of return or return on investment? Are you getting anything back in the energy that you're spending? I think that's important to think about, and ultimately will help us not sweat the small stuff. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Again, my name's Mike Ergo. You can read the whole article on my website, intellectualnebula.com. And please be sure to like, comment, subscribe on all the social medias as it helps me continue to build my brand. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.